Good evening everyone and welcome to another Facebook Live. I would like to share with you a card that I made for a class that was just a couple of weeks ago using some of the products from the beautiful Bokeh suite in the current mini catalogue. So the products we'll be using for this particular card is the bundle. The bundle includes the stamp set, which is called Beautiful Butterflies, so this one here. So it does have the really nice butterfly images. You have some two-step stamping to fill in the wings and the butterfly, some sentiments as well. So that is the stamp set. It also includes a set of dies, which, let me show you some of these. So we've got a couple of different butterflies, big and small, some frames. Got the, move this over so you can see, as mentioned, little butterflies, the middle of the butterflies, a couple of frames, and also some other ones as well. Now this one here, you can actually create this into a butterfly shaped card. So I'm not using that one tonight, but it's one that I will share with you fairly soon. And of course, the middle of the butterflies. The other thing this has with it is an embossing folder, and this is a hybrid embossing folder. So that means that this embossing folder, let me just show you the picture here. You can emboss with it, or you can cut and emboss at the same time. And that's what I'm going to show you tonight, because the hybrid embossing folders aren't anything to be scared of. They are actually a lot of fun to use, and they just sort of eliminate one step in card making. Okay, so let me just grab out what I'm going to need for tonight's card, and I can put these other ones aside. Oh, we need the middle of the butterfly too. Okay, now normally I'd have these on a nice magnetic sheet to share with you, but I don't have a free sheet at the moment, so we've got a little bit more messy. Okay, so one thing I want to share with you very quickly before I dive into this card. It was just announced today. I can get my piece of paper. They're all stuck together. Free shipping. Free shipping is the 23rd to the 25th, which I'm not even sure what the date today is. It could be starting tomorrow. I think maybe tomorrow. But there's free shipping for 3 days. Okay, so the 23rd to the 25th of April. That is on all orders of $65 or more. And of course, if you place an order of $65 or more, you also will earn 10% Stampin' rewards. Excuse me. Okay, I'll do another reminder of that at the end. Okay, so let me share with you the card I'm going to be making tonight, which is this one just here. So in this card, we've used the more detailed die, which is this one here. And underneath, that is using the hybrid embossing folder. So with that, it's using the embossing folder and this die at the same time. Okay, so I will show you how to use that to add a little bit of glimmer and shimmer to the body of the butterfly. I just added some Wink of Stella, which is nice and easy. Hi Angelica, thank you for joining me. I don't know if I've got my die cut already, but I might have to grab the die. The circle die there is from Stylish Shapes, which is one that I use a lot. Okay, so let me share with you what we've got for this. Oh, I have done some of the cutting out as well, so that's good. So there's a half sheet of thick white A4. I have got, this is Fresh Freesia, which is a really pretty light purple. 2 pieces, one for the inside and one for the outside. I'll just get rid of my sticky note. Okay, these ones measure 10 centimeters by 14.4. I have 2 pieces of white that are 9.5 by 13.9, my standard sort of measurements. For my white rectangle just here, I have one piece that measures 12 centimeters by 7.5. I have got my circle and Fresh Freesia that I have pre-cut. And I've also got my butterfly as well that I've just cut using the more detailed butterfly die. I've got my piece of white to do my embossing and die cutting on. I've got a piece of black for the butterfly's body plus 5 pearls. Okay, so what I might do first, I need to do a little bit of stamping. Oh, forgot one piece. My strip of Berry Burst to stamp the sentiment. So I'm going to stamp the sentiment, then I can grab the Big Shot out. The Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine out to share that with you. And I've actually got my full size one or the standard size one because otherwise the dies and things actually don't fit through the mini that I would normally use. Okay, so I'm going to grab out the Happy Birthday sentiment, and for this card I've just used Memento Black. What other thing that would look really quite nice with this as well is if you did some white embossing or white heat embossing for the sentiment. Okay. So just inking up my stamp and stamping in the middle. Very, very simple. This is the only stamp that's actually on this card, which I often make cards that only have a sentiment stamp. Okay, so for the first pass through the Stampin' Cut machine, I will be using these 2 dies. So I'll just pop these other bits aside. I am going to raise the platform a little bit. Oh, sorry, my phone stand a bit. And it's going to probably zoom out a fair bit more, so you'll actually see the mess on my table. Oh, it's going the wrong way. I need to tighten it up. There we go. All right. Hi, Jenny. Thanks for joining us. Okay. As I mentioned, I don't actually bring the big machine out very often, but here it is. And just need to grab my platforms. So this is just ordinary die cutting. So I have got the butterfly's body, and I'm going to be die cutting my sentiment as well. So, and of course, I'm going to be using a post-it note just to try and make sure that the die doesn't slip and it cuts out nice and straight. Okay, so I've just got the second cutting plate on the top, and then we've got that little bit of die cutting done to begin with. Let's put these dies aside. And you might need to use with some of these dies the take your pick tool, and you have the little holes here. If you use your take your pick tool, it just frees up that bit of cardstock so it pops out. Okay, so there we have those 2 elements ready to go for the card. Now the other piece I need to do while I've got the Stampin' Cut machine out is I'm taking away platform number 2 and also the 2 clear cutting mats. And I do need this thicker mat, which is for the 3D embossing folders. Okay, so just remember the number 4, don't do any cutting on it. It's not a cutting plate. So with my embossing folder, okay, I've got this little Stampin' Up logo here. I'm actually going to be turning that upside down. My hinge is going to be going through. Let me just move this ever so slightly up. Not sure how well you can see it, but there is this butterfly image here. My die, and the raised edge is the cutting edge, is going to face up. And that kind of locks in around that butterfly. So that is going to emboss and cut with one pass. So I'm just going to sit that back on the platform. Make sure it's not going to wiggle anywhere too far. Get my piece of white cardstock. That's going to sit over the top. Close the lid or the top of the embossing folder. The grey 3D embossing mat on the top and go through. There will be a little bit of resistance because we are embossing and cutting at the same time. Okay, let me just pop this to the side and I'm just going to lower my little phone stand a little bit more. Okay, I hope that wasn't too wobbly. Okay, so when we take this out, you end up with your butterfly that is die cut and embossed in one hit. So you will find that your embossing folder does get cut into a little bit. It is designed to be cut into. Okay, so this is what they call the hybrid embossing folders. They're pretty cool to use. I was a little bit concerned to begin with about using a die with the embossing folder, but it's actually quite easy to use. And you just get that really beautiful butterfly cut out and embossed in one hit. Okay, so we only need to put the card together. I'll pop it there so everyone can see. Now, as I mentioned, I did do a couple of my pieces earlier. And I have done a few pieces tonight. So I'm going to use my take your pick tool and just get rid of these little bits of the cardstock that are still in the details of the butterfly. And the first thing I'm going to do is stick my two butterflies together. I'm using just a small amount of Tombow, and because I've got something else being stuck over the top, I don't need to use too much, and I'm just going to be putting, if I can pick it up, there we go, some Tombow just down the body of the butterfly. Now, if you want to stick the whole butterfly down flush onto a card front or onto one of these other die cuts, I would recommend using the sticker sheet. That way then, or the adhesive sheet, that way then you make the whole thing into a sticker. So I've only got just my adhesive on the body here. That way then it leaves the rest of the butterfly sticky free, because we all know Tombow can get everywhere. Next thing I'm going to do is a little bit of Tombow behind the body of the butterfly, and I've just used black. I have also used early espresso as well on the bodies. I think anything a little bit darker works really nicely. And the body lines up in the little antennae. I think that's what they call them on butterflies. I'm not 100% sure. I ask those questions a lot about plants and things when I'm doing Facebook Live. Now, before I go ahead and stick this onto the card front, I'm going to use some Wink of Stella, which I hope you're all familiar with it. It is the simplest way to add shimmer and shine to your card. It's a liquid form and it just has glitter already in it. So I'm just going to, you can also squeeze ever so slightly to get the liquid flowing. And you just get that nice shimmer and shine. It doesn't take too long to dry. The other thing too is if you're doing watercolouring with the watercolour pencils, you can actually use the Wink of Stella to blend your colour. Okay, so that is Wink of Stella, and that this one is just colour is called Clear. So I think you might be able to see that little bit of shimmer there. I'm going to pop that aside for a moment and put the rest of the card together. Then we'll come back to that. Okay. So as always, my card base is the half sheet of A4. And that's just scored and folded in half. So I'll do the inside first, and that is finished. So my piece of fresh freesia measures 10 centimeters by 14.4, and my piece of white measures 9.5 by 13.9. They, of course, are the standard measurements that I use for my basic mats on the inside and also the outside of my cards. And of course, you can adjust those just depending on what you need. So I've used some Stampin' Seal. And if you are using Stampin' Seal, which is one of my favourite adhesives to use, just remember a light hand and that little tick to break the stream of the adhesive. Okay, so into the inside of the card. And I'm going to do the exact same with the leftover two pieces for the outside. So again, just that little tick to break the stream of the adhesive. And I'm not using dimensionals on this layer. Normally I would, but I wanted the card to just be a little bit flatter. I'm finding that for postage, a card that's a touch flatter is better. Okay. My next piece is the third piece of white, and this one measures 12 centimeters by 7.5. I am going to use some dimensionals to stick this onto the card front. And I've got some minis here to use. Okay, so while I'm doing this, how was everyone's Easter? I hope you got to spend some time with some family and friends. Or maybe you're lucky enough you got to go away for a few days, which is always really nice. Okay, so just taking the backs off the dimensionals. So Rob and I went up to Locksport because we do have a house up there that we're renovating. So Rob got busy on more renovations and completed the new wall between the kitchen and laundry. And while he was busy doing that, I was making cards, which I thought was a fair and reasonable thing. Okay, and at times I was the assistant, so I'm not sure how much I helped. I was probably a little bit more of a hindrance most of the time, but I was able to hold things for him while he was busy. Okay, next I've got my circle in fresh freesia, which is from the Stylish Shapes. Oh, lovely, Jenny. I'm glad you got that time with your family, because it seems sometimes it's few and far between when you actually get to go away with everyone. Okay, so some Tombow, and I'm going to be centering my circle over that piece of white or thereabouts. And I think the best thing of all about Easter, we had really nice weather. Locksport, it was really lovely. It did start to rain a little bit, I think, yesterday, but that was okay. It wasn't too bad. My next job is sticking the butterfly down, and I am going to be using, again, some Tombow. So just getting a bit onto the back wherever it sort of lands works, and getting my butterfly onto there. Again, not too many layers of dimensionals. I've just got the one underneath this piece of white. Okay. Next, I have got my sentiment to put on, and I am going to use some dimensionals for this, but I'm going to be leaving the dimensionals mostly in the middle. And I'm going to use probably just 3 pieces, because with this card at the very ends here, I don't want these ends to stick down onto that bottom piece of white. I want those to remain sitting up. Okay. And then we've got the happy birthday is going to go on around about there. And finally, I've got some of the iridescent pearls to put on. And I've got 5 of those. So I've got one of the larger ones, if I can get it off. Oops, I did get it off the little backing. So I've got one of the larger ones and 4 of the smaller ones. And of course I am using the putty tip. Okay, got a couple more to put on, and then this card is finished. So one of the great things about this card is it's one that you can easily make at home. You only really need to have basic tools, a black ink pad, and a sentiment stamp set. So that is the finished card. Now the reason I've mentioned that this is a really easy one to make at home, because it is such a lovely card, I am offering, won't be offering it every week, but if you love this card and would like to make it, for $15 I will send you all of the pre-cut and pre-embossed pieces that you need to make this card. Of course, you've got the video here to follow along. The only thing you'll need to have is a sentiment that's going to fit in this little frame here, because I can't sell kits with the stamped images on them, but the rest I can. So you would need to have your basic tools, your adhesives, Wink of Stella if you've got it, or something to add a little bit of shimmer, a black ink pad, and a sentiment stamp. So that's $15 for this kit, which includes the postage as well. It's very, very simple card to do. Well, I think it's a simple card to do. It's nice and quick and easy. So if anyone's interested in that, please let me know. Just message me if you would love to get one of these kits, because who doesn't love butterflies? So that is my first reminder. Next one, I mentioned earlier, free shipping from the 23rd to the 25th of April on orders of $65 or more. And you'll also earn your 10% Stampin' Rewards to be used on a future order. And also, if you just bump your order up to $75 or more, you'll also get an entry into the giveaway for the Take Your Pick tool, which is one of the tools that I use on, I think, every Facebook Live I do. I'm using this tool. So I have got one to give away. So that is with an order of $75 or more. You'll earn your Stampin' Rewards, get an entry into the giveaway, and also the free class for next month. So that's what I've got for you. But really important, free shipping for 3 days. And who doesn't love that? And tonight's card, if you're interested in getting the kit for that, please message me and we can make that happen. Thank you so much for joining me. I really hope you've enjoyed seeing this card being made, and I will be back next Tuesday to share something more, probably something from the new catalogues. I've been making some samples with it over the Easter weekend, so I'll share some more of those with you during the week as well. Thank you again to Angelica and Jenny and everyone else who's watching. Really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you all next week. Take care.